Today, we have an exciting and enlightening topic to delve into, the menorah. Whether you're well-versed in Jewish traditions or just curious about the significance of this iconic symbol, I think you'll find this topic to be fascinating. If you like content about Judaism, Torah, and Israel, please follow for more videos like this. Let's jump right in. The origin of the menorah goes back over 3,300 years ago to the times of Moses. While the people of Israel were wandering the desert for 40 years, God commanded them to build a temporary, portable temple called the Mishkan, often translated as tabernacle. It had many elements, including 2 altars, a table to display 12 loaves of sacramental bread, and a golden candelabra called the menorah. In Exodus chapter 25, God says, "You shall also make a menorah of pure gold. The menorah shall be of hammered work. Its shaft, its branches, its bowls, its ornamental knobs and flowers shall be of one piece, and 6 branches shall come out of its sides, 3 branches of the menorah out of one side, and 3 branches of the menorah out of the other side." Here the Torah describes a candelabra of 7 branches, 1 middle branch with 3 branches coming out from each side. The Torah goes on to describe in great detail the cups, knobs, flowers, and other designs that were to ornament the menorah. Moses made the first menorah according to God's description, and it was lit daily in the Mishkan and later in the first temple built by King Solomon. But what was the meaning of this golden candelabra? The rabbis and sages throughout the ages have proposed differing interpretations of the menorah's symbolism. About 2,000 years ago, the Jewish philosopher Philo of Alexandria proposed that the 7 candles represent the 5 visible stars plus the sun and the moon. He wrote the following: "The candlestick Moses placed at the south of the tabernacle, figuring thereby the movements of the luminaries above. For the sun and the moon and the others run their courses in the south, far away from the north, and therefore 6 branches, 3 on each side, issue from the central candlestick, bringing up the number to 7. And on all of these are set 7 lamps and candle bearers, symbols of what the men of science call planets. For the sun, like the candlestick, has the 4th place in the middle of the 6 and gives light to the 3 above and the 3 below it, so tuning to harmony an instrument of music truly divine." Another Second Temple writer by the name of Josephus Flavius wrote similarly as follows: "Facing the table near the south wall stood a candelabrum of cast gold, hollow and of the weight of 100 talents. This weight the Hebrews call kikars, a word which translated into Greek denotes a talent. It was made up of globules and lilies, along with pomegranates and little bowls, numbering 70 in all. Of these, it was composed from a single base right up to the top, having been made to consist of as many portions as assigned to the planets with the sun. It terminated in 7 branches, regularly disposed in a row. Each branch bore 1 lamp, recalling the number of planets. The 7 lamps faced southwest, and the candelabrum being placed crosswise." So that's how the symbolism of the menorah was seen by 2 of the great writers in the Second Temple period. But if we come further in history to the Chassidic writers who lived 200 and 300 years ago, they see a completely different symbolism in the menorah. Just like Josephus did, they point out that the number of knobs, flowers, and pomegranates on the menorah totals 70. But they see a different symbolism in these 70 decorations of the menorah. They point out that the people of Israel actually originated with 70 individuals. As we find written in the first chapter of Exodus, it says, "And all the souls that came out of the thigh of Jacob were 70 souls, and Joseph was in Egypt." So just like the people of Israel originated with 70 souls that came out of the so-called thigh of Jacob, we find that the menorah has a central stand, which is called in Hebrew the Yerech HaMenorah, the thigh of the menorah. And from that thigh emit the 7 branches with its 70 ornaments. And we find it called the thigh of the menorah in Exodus 25:31. So the menorah, according to the Chassidic masters, essentially symbolizes the people of Israel. And the job of the priest in lighting the menorah is to spiritually strengthen the souls of Israel. And according to the Chassidic masters, essentially, so too in our times, the job of the tzaddikim, the righteous in every generation, is to uplift and inspire the souls of the people of Israel with the light of the Torah. And this fits very well with the general symbolism of candles in the Hebrew Bible. For example, we find in Proverbs 6:23, for the commandment is a candle and the Torah is a light. Or in Proverbs 43:27, the candle of God is the soul of man. So we see that the symbolism in the Hebrew Bible of the candle is indeed something that has to do with light, Torah, and the soul. This brings us to perhaps the most well-known aspect of the menorah, which is the 8-branch Hanukkah menorah lit in Jewish homes all around the world today. Where does this come from? About 2,200 years ago, the Seleucid Greek king Antiochus outlawed the observance of Torah laws. Together with some collaborators from among the Jewish population, he converted the Jerusalem temple into a temple to Zeus. He brought idols into the temple, and he sacrificed pigs on the altar, thereby contaminating the temple. A small group of rebels, led by Mattatyahu and his sons of the priestly Hasmonean family, succeeded against all odds to liberate the temple and rededicate it. The word Hanukkah in Hebrew actually means dedication, and the Hanukkah Menorah commemorates the rededication of the temple. But the question is, why 8 branches? We already learned that the menorah and the temple had 7 branches. So actually the Talmud gives 2 different reasons for the 8 branches of the Hanukkah menorah. The first and more commonly quoted opinion goes like this. It is that when the temple's purification was complete and they were ready to once again kindle the menorah, they didn't have any ritual pure oil for the menorah. They searched everywhere, and miraculously they found a single jug of pure oil sealed with the unbroken seal of the high priest. The problem was it was only sufficient for 1 day, and it would take several days to produce new oil. Nevertheless, they lit the menorah with the oil that they had, and miraculously that 1 jug of oil continued to burn for 8 days until they could produce new oil. So according to this opinion, the holiday of Hanukkah with the lighting of our personal menorahs was established for 8 days every year in commemoration of this miracle of the oil burning for 8 days. But there is actually a second, very different and less known explanation brought in the Talmud. And it goes like this, that when the temple was rededicated and people had their first break from the war and they entered the temple, immediately they felt sad that they had missed out on the most joyous holiday of the year in the temple, which is the holiday of Sukkot Shmini Atzeret, which is an 8-day period that in the temple is celebrated with dancing and bringing sacrifices, and it was really the happiest time of the year in the temple. So they decided, instead of just being sad about it, they're going to make up for the 8 days that they lost by declaring 8 days of celebrating in the newly rededicated temple. So according to this second lesser-known opinion, the 8 days of Hanukkah and the 8 branches of its menorah are in commemoration of this 8-day celebration. So either way, whether we light the menorah to commemorate the miracle of the oil burning for 8 days, which really represents the light of the Torah and of the soul of man, or whether it is in commemoration of the rededication of the temple and the making up for the lost days of Sukkot, which symbolizes that it's never too late, and even when you've missed out, there's always a chance to make up again. Either way, today Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday that is truly loved by all. The lighting of the candles symbolizing the light of the Torah and the soul in the darkest time of the year is a source of great joy to all who celebrate. I'm going to post some links in the description to tutorials of how to light the menorah for those of you who maybe have never done it before, or maybe you've done it and you need a little refresher. And I encourage everybody this year to go and light the menorah every night of the 8 nights of Hanukkah. I wish you and yours a very happy and blessed Hanukkah. I hope that you will subscribe and like in order to get more videos like this about Torah, Israel, and Judaism. God bless you. Happy Hanukkah.